just
There
let
you
me
go. So
get
the official recording is on, but yeah, Christian, if you record as well, we have a backup.
all right, where'd my notepad go? Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so we'll talk about the watch list first. Everything is going to be connected to one another. So that's why I'm going to have them be together. So let me find my thing real quick. Let me pull that up. And we're going to make your watch list. So for the watch list, you guys already know, the typical things that you want to look for, right? Is the ticker. Actually, you want to date it, right? Then you want the ticker. Then you want what? The SL, right? The outstanding. And then you want the float. And then you want the IO percentage and then the short float percentage, right? That's typically what you guys want to see and collect before you enter a trade, right? In the market open.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty basic. So we'll just keep it that way. I'm gonna make everything middle. So, and then, whoops, what did I do? I'll also try to make everything a table. Having things be a table is just so much easier for your formulas to function and for the layout to be more cleaner. So I'm gonna make this a table. I use a lot of short keys, hotkeys to lessen my work. So if you want to do a table, just hover over something that you wrote already, click Control T, and that's table. You can also skip around like that by doing Control arrow key, and it'll go to the last available not blank cell. So I made a watch list already that we can take a look at, so we don't have to fill that in, right? This is what we're gonna play with today. Okay. All of this, you have to do it manually, right? You can't really, unless you know how to do, what do you call it? The macro thing, where you can extract data from a website.
Are you
have to do
using
this.
DOS, Mark? Are you using DOS?
Nope, I don't use DOS. I just use Sterling and Thinkorswim.
Okay, because DOS allows you to export their scanner.
Even if you could do that, you want it all put in a watch list, in like a master watch list, not like watch list, right? Where you have tickers that you add onto it from today.
Right, like an ongoing list that you have monitoring.
That grows and
okay,
grows.
Gotcha.
You'll see why that's important. So that you could do that too if you want to lessen the work and not have to type it. But you want to do these manually. At least I can't find a way to make it automatic right now, at least not with the macros. So let's just, to save time, let's say, every morning we fill in all this stuff, and oh my gosh, and it's all filled. Okay. I like to keep my things fairly simple, but I also like to format it because too much numbers that look the same bothers my eyes and I can't see it clearly. So I'm gonna teach you a couple of number formats that'll make your charts cleaner. Again, it's optional. You don't have to do this, but I like to make my thing clean. So this is this is the outstanding, this is the float, this is obviously in the millions. What I like to do for those types where it's a million, I like to go to the custom, and I made my own number format, and just, you can watch this in the recording later to copy that. And what I'll do is it'll put everything in the second decimal place and then put the M next to it to represent million, obviously. Another one for me, I like my percentages colored, regardless of whether I'm looking for an average or I'm looking at the IO or SF percentage. So I'll give you that one too. You don't have to use a specific color. You can change it to green or whatever if you want. But I like it this way, so I'm going to keep it this way. Right. And that changes it. That puts it in percentage form and also changes it to blue. If it's negative, it'll turn red. So that's how it is. Pretty simple, right? Something I like to do as well in the morning, just to make my work later on easier, is I like to put the setup and the type that it is. Also, to add something like this, you want to put your arrow right here. So you could click it like that. It'll do that. But if you want to put a new column, you want to double click it, and then you do Control plus. Right? Easy. And this is the setup. And this is the type. You probably saw this in Top Ticks thing. It's pretty nifty, so you don't have to type it all the time. Let me see if I can remember where it is. But there's a thing you can do to do a drop down. Where was it? If I can remember where I put it, where it is, I mean. I can't. Crap. Forgetting where it is. Well, I'll figure it out later. Sorry, guys. I don't want to keep wasting time looking for something. Anyways, this one you have to manually type if you don't put the drop down. You could probably just Google that. It's not really that hard. It's like a 1-minute Google search, and it'll show you where to find the drop down, and then you fill that, and then you could just do something like this is my actual watch list, right? This, right? Forgot where it is for a second. I don't do it a lot because it's already set up and I don't remember where I put it. But anyways, that'll come helpful. That'll come handy later on. One thing that you want to do too to connect, the watch list. You can name it something else if you want. It's probably a better name. There's probably a better name you guys can come up with. And if you want to connect the watch list and the data and the pivot tables together, you do need to do something important. I didn't know about this until like last year. So you guys are learning like a really nifty trick here. Okay, so add another column. Okay, and this is going to be called the trade ID. Also, if you want to resize this to be automatically fit everything, just double click that to the side. It'll fit all that. Why is that doing that? Okay, so the trade ID, you want the trade ID to be unique for every single ticker that enters your watch list. You don't want repeating tickers. And so to do that, there's this formula called concat, which will add different texts that you want together in one cell. And so to make it unique, just add the date here, which is text 1, do a comma, and do ENSV, which is the ticker name, which is in text 2, close parentheses. And look, unique trade ID that will never repeat itself unless you do something wrong. So this is going to come handy. This is really important. So keep that in mind. This is the only thing that's really going to be in formula. Okay, so that's how you do your watch list every day as you fill it up.
Yeah.
Just increase the thing. Just oh, it's 316 today, and Upsell is moving up, and then you just blah blah blah. Okay, let's move on. So simple enough. Any questions?
What does that thing exactly do, the trade ID?
Oh, you'll see. It's hard to explain right now, but you'll
Okay,
see
okay.
once I move on. For now, it doesn't really mean much. Any other questions? Great. Again, you can add more to your watch list, but again, I'm making this basic. So I know I have a lot more in my watch list I add in the morning. So don't feel free to be creative with that. Okay, next thing. Let me see. What's the next plan? Next thing is that we're gonna make the raw data list. Now, this I'm not going over strategies, right? The one where Jay teaches you, oh, put down, 1 minute J lines, 3 minute, and the 5 minute, right? And if it hits that, put a yes or a 1. If it doesn't hit that, put a 0 or a no. We're not going to do that today. This is not what this is about. This is a general Excel gathering list. Or not. I don't know if I explained that, titled that right, but you'll see what I mean. So again, always start with the date. Actually, you want to start with the trade ID, then the date, the ticker. And obviously, one thing that's important is the open, high, the low, the close. Actually, I'm going to add one more. Which is the previous close. And then the next day 2 open, which I just say day 2 so I can fit it. Also, if you do Control A, it will highlight everything. But if you're in a specific cell that's not blank, it'll highlight everything that's next to that. I want everything to be highlighted so I can make it in the middle. So yeah, that's that. The trade ID, you want to do that, just put an equal sign and then go to the cell that you want it to copy exactly. And then there's your trade ID. You don't have to do the concat thing anymore. And then let's see, let's make that a table. Table has headers. And if I'm going too fast, feel free to stop me and ask me questions if you want. But okay, a lot of this stuff you'll have to enter manually, but I found a way that makes it takes some of the work off. It doesn't fill everything, but it fills the basics like the previous close, open, high, low, close, and day 2.
What's the resource? You have one resource that you go to, or you collect it like from, I don't know, Delusion Tracker, Edge to Trade?
Yeah, we
Scanner.
have different things, different scanners, Edge to Trade, Dilution Tracker, Flash, all that. That's
Okay.
all done manually in the watch list. But okay, again, you don't have to put this in the same worksheet, but I'm gonna, so you guys can see it side by side. But I'm gonna do the same thing again here. What's why to do that? Put it like right here. This, by the way, there's different copy and paste option. This only trades paste the values. This is formulas and stuff like that. I don't know why did it do that. Jeez. Sorry, it's gonna get annoying, but all of this is going to be formulas. Why? Stop that. Okay. This is all gonna be formulas. Again, you want to copy the trade ID from the watch list for this. So it's unique. And then we're gonna get started with why the trade ID matters. This is also going to be formulas. Anything I highlight in the header as yellow is gonna be formulas. And anything I'm gonna highlight in orange is not gonna be formulas, but they're gonna be copy and pasted. This is all gonna be formulas, okay? So the formula that you wanna get, so you don't have to keep writing the date and the ticker every single time, is X lookup, right? Then you want the lookup value to be the trade ID, which is to the left of it, right? Then you want the lookup array to be everything in that trade ID except the header. Okay. And because you're looking for date specifically, because that's the column that you were searching for, you highlight for the return array all of that, right? And what's that essentially saying is, what's that essentially saying is, listen, I want something that looks like this trade that matches this cell here. So I want you to search all of this to find the exact cell, right? Which is this. And then for the return array, I want the specific date that that cell occurred in. And so what cell in this date matches exactly with the trade ID that is set forth? Oh, it's 310. So right now you have to reformat it to date, but that is the date. I like mine like this, right? That's how trade ID is useful. You also do the same here. So I'm going to do that real quick. X lookup, trade ID to the left. You want that, then this, and then the date. Okay. And then that's also not formatted. So another that's also, you could do the same thing, right? Do it, trade ID again. And then instead of doing the date, you're looking for the ticker. Because the trade ID is, whoops, wrong one. I did that wrong. Because the trade ID is unique, it'll only specifically return the one that is associated with that trade ID. ENSV. See, how do you know you're right? Because of this ENSV, and before we formatted it this way, it was 44630. Get that? That should be easy to follow.
Yeah.
Okay. Same thing here. So let me do that real quick. Oops. Shoot. Let's look up trade ID. NSV. Oh my gosh, I keep doing the wrong one. This one, then this one. X lookups are a beautiful thing. You can also do V lookups based off, depending on how you format your thing, or depending on how you look up, depending on how you want to search something else. I'm not going to do that today. You can YouTube it or Google it. V lookups are pretty nice too. I know Lily does it. So moving on, because I'm too lazy to type all of this in, I'll go to the chart, find the previous close price, open high, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do this, right? Previous close, I'm going to do stock history. Oh, wait, another thing that's really important before I do that actually is this. Jeez. I don't know, I'll get rid of that. I'll figure that out one of these days. Oh yeah, make this a table. Yeah, it has headers. And then add another column here. This is going to be called day. Why? You'll figure it out soon. I want to know what day is associated with this date. And you'll understand why that's important. So to do that, just do text, right? Because you want to change what a number is into a text, which is the date, right? And then you want to format it. There's different ways to format it. You can change text into numbers into text based off how you're going to format the text. The one that I'm going to give you today is called DDDD. And essentially what that will do is this. Right? So on the 10th, it was Thursday. Why that will matter, you will see. Let me resize that. There it is. Okay. That's so annoying. So to find the numbers associated with the headings, you want to do stock history, right? And then it'll give you instructions here as to how to fill it. So you want the stock, which we already have here. So just go to someone messaged something. Okay, whatever. Sorry, I got off track. You want the ticker to be this. Then you want the start date to be this. Okay, but because we're dealing with previous close, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. So we're going to put an if statement, right? Because if we do just that without, actually, I'll show you. We're going to put the if statement and then we're going to go to day, right? The one that we mentioned. And I'm going to put a logical test. The logical test is this. If that cell to the left of it says Monday, then I want the date, I want the close, the previous close to be calculated based off the date 3 days ago, not a day, not today. Okay, so date minus 3. And if it's false, right, then that means I want just the previous day, which is the date minus 1, right? So then we're going to do the end date, which we can skip. So just do another comma. Then for the intervals, just put daily because you're looking for the daily data, and then no header because we already have a header. And then this will give you the options: date, close, open, high, low, volume, because we're looking for the previous close. Just do close. And voila, load, and it will give you the thing. All right, so that one was a little bit more complicated. This one, if you can do that, this will get a little bit easier. Just do stock history again. Stock here, the date, right? You don't need to do an if statement anymore. Skip the end date, the 0, 0, because you don't need all that. And then the open, which is 2. And then because everything is pretty similar and all done on the same day, you can just copy and paste. And then if you click the F2 hotkey, it'll let you edit a cell without having to double click it or anything with your mouse. So because this is a high, I want 3. Oops. F2, because this is a low, this is that, because this is a close. There's that. Okay, these are all the values done. And then day 2, it's going to be a little bit more similar with the previous close, because obviously, you know, there's a Friday, and you don't want it to calculate the Saturday because market's not open. So we're going to do that again. Stock history. Stock. Oh wait, whoops. We're going to do the if statement again. We're going to go to day. And day equals, if day equals Friday, you want the words in quotations, by the way, or else it's not gonna be able to tell that you're looking for a word. And so it'll give you an error statement. Then if the day says Friday, then you want the date to be +3. If it's not Friday, then you can do just the date +1, and then close the parentheses because you're done with that. Then the end date, skip it, the interval, that's the daily, no header. And then what was this again? The day 2. So you want to open, and this will give you open price for the next day. Okay. Does that make sense, guys?
Where do you get the data, the open, high and low and close, all that? Because you didn't really enter anywhere, did you?
No, yeah, it's all done in Excel. Excel gets this is a stock formula, right? This is the formula from Excel. What this does is it gets data from a different site or something like that, and it puts it in there, puts it in your Excel sheet automatically. So it's all done with.
So that's the actual like Excel formula, stock history, and it pulls
Yep.
the history from somewhere.
Yep. I know this was in beta for quite a while, beginning of last year. So I'm pretty sure everybody has it now, but maybe not everyone has it.
And
So
why
if-
isn't why don't you pull the data in the watch list?
Because I don't have. Oh, I will. You'll see. All
Okay.
this stuff, I'm gonna pull it up soon. But in regards to like the open, high, low, close, I don't have that. And yeah. So yeah. Any more questions? Hi,
Well, just
Mugen.
a quick, maybe
Cody.
just a quick general, because Cody, Top Take, and Mugen just joined. Can everybody hear us? Or Mark? Chat or unmute yourself.
Hi there,
Hi,
everybody.
Mugen.
How you doing, guys? You okay?
Good. I'm sorry I started a little bit too early, but there is
No,
a
no, no.
record. There
That's
will
okay.
be. Okay. Yeah, there will be a recording. So if you
Yes.
want to watch what I did in the beginning, essentially, real fast recap. I made a watch list. All of this is done manually that you enter every morning. The trade
Okay.
ID, very important. I'm not sure how much you watched already, but the trade ID connects all of the tables that you'll be creating today with the watch list, because this is like the start of everything.
Okay.
And then I talked about how you could do this. Also, really neat thing, guys. If you do control, again, arrow shift, control shift, it'll, instead of where control would just help you move around, holding control and holding shift will move you around and also highlight everything that is in between. Okay, so real nifty trick. I like to put borders in my thing, so I like to go to end, highlight that, and then do Control-7. Or no, sorry. Is it Control-7? No, sorry. It's Control, Shift, and 7, and now I'll put a border. See? Yay. Just to make your thing look neat. Okay, cool part about why the trade ID is so important is because of this. Ready? Just drag that. Yay. All of the values are there. You don't need that because we don't have as much. See? Go away. How nice. Now there are sometimes it'll give you values like this, and I don't know why it does that, but like, just delete it. It's okay. But just think about it. All you have to do is manually look at what the prices happen in these two instead of doing all of this, where if we did this right now, all of this, you and I would be spending an hour just getting through like
But
this
both
much.
these arrows, both these wrong values were with the same ticker.
Yeah, that means something.
It's just
Sadly.
probably missing data, because even like as well, like when you look on edge to trade, some of the tickers like don't have certain like whatever, like burn a month ratio, or available cash day, or missing float or something. Is just having just that, nothing else.
Yeah, and like this Excel formula isn't the best. I'm gonna tell you why in a second too, why you can't keep this. Okay, you only want this to be a temporary thing, and why you want to put all of the data you found here, you copy and paste it and put it here. This is why we have this orange thing. So let's say I already did it. I already did it ahead of time. So let me just copy the other one. Copy and paste, and let me put that there. Okay. Let me. Seriously, that's like annoying me. Also, if you do that, and then you hold control, you can highlight multiple things, right? See? Ooh, yay. Okay. Right. So now what you want to do with this is you want to copy and paste it. Actually, hold on. How far does this go? Cell 26. So let's put that in there. Let's drag that. Copy and paste all this. And then you want it to be values. Let it load. And then you want this all to be dollars. Okay. So what to do? You're done with that. What to do? I mean, and the reason why you can't keep this, as nice as it is because I've tried to have this like remain the same. But after a certain time has passed, or you close this and you open it back up, all of this will show error. Why? I don't know. I tried to figure it out. And so you don't want to depend on using this alone and then not copy and pasting it and then close your cell and then open it back up and realize all your hard work is gone. So you have to restart all of this. Okay. So, I would encourage, to do this. Encourage you to do this. Copy and paste all the formulas again. And obviously, because it's not connected to the cell that we put it in, it's going to show an error. And that's fine, whatever. But to change a formula into just a text, just go to the beginning of the formula at the top and put that. Forgot what it's called, apostrophe. I'm sleep deprived, so I don't remember. So just do that for all of that, so you don't have to redo all that crap again,
It's worth better to like just before you, before you enter all the data, you do all your formulas and everything, and just like a save as a master copy or whatever. And then whenever you for, let's say, each month you change it, or each week, I don't know how fast it messes up, but like whenever you start, let's say, a new month, you open your master saved file and you enter data in there, like for your
Yeah.
do that each month. So let's say you track it for a month, and then at the end of the month you close it, save it, like let's say you write down January or whatever, and then on next month you open your master file and start entering again just the data, basically, without actually entering the formula.
Yeah, that's one way. You can be creative with how you want to do it. This is just another way. But yeah, that's a good idea. Also, other issues with this. You can easily do 100 within an hour or two using this formula. But I don't know why. It's been a while. But sometimes some data isn't accurate. Then again, not all programs will show you the same thing. Like if you use TOS and then you compare that with TC 3000 or something like that, sometimes you'll find that, oh, the open price for Indo this date is 4405, but then TC 3000 is showing 4410 or something like that, or 4406. Same thing. So you'll have to be careful with that. Sometimes some of you might realize that, oh, this isn't exactly the best formula or you don't want to depend on this for accuracy. And I get that. So you do want to enter this manually, which might be for the best, honestly, if you want the most accurate number. Not to mention that if you go far back enough, obviously you're going to hit stocks that split or did a reverse split, so the price is different. You're not going to get an accurate data on that because it doesn't adjust to those prices. So be careful of that. You can't keep using this for as far back as you want because it's limited in that regards. But if you're doing big caps and they don't do splits or reverse splits as much, I think you can go back a good amount and still be okay. Oh yeah, and by the way, I totally forgot. You can also do this, which is another thing. Just let me copy and paste that. I don't use this, but I know people do, and they talk about it on YouTube, and maybe you will do something with this, okay? So I'm just gonna put it out there, but let's see. Where is it? Okay, it's in data. You click stocks, and it'll change all that. Actually, let's change all this into stocks. Just click that. Real nifty thing about this is it will only give you data from today, and it will get the data from Google Finance. So however much you want to trust that, that's for you to decide. You can do market cap, and it'll give you the market cap. Actually, sorry, let's change that here so we don't have to change the size on that other stuff. Right? That's the market cap. And you have all of this stuff, the price, and then let's say the volume that it traded. The problem with this, however, is that it's changing. It's always changing. So tomorrow, if you open this Excel sheet again, you'll find that these numbers aren't the same. So not really good for historical data, but I could see you, putting the volume in for the day. At the end of the day, finding what the overall day volume was, and doing that without having to type it, and then just copy it and just paste the value. What do you do? Less typing. So you can do that. You can do that for all of this. You could just drag this down. Drag this down and it'll give you the same thing. I guess MGLD is a bit weird. It's not giving you anything even in that. So whatever. So that's another option. If you can find some use for it, go for it. But a lot of that fundamental stuff you should already be doing in the morning, and it should be done here. Okay, cool. So now that we have all these values copied and pasted, right? We have yet to enter anything manually here, which is nice. So we're gonna, because this is like the master spreadsheet or whatever, we're gonna add some stuff here, which, by the way, we're gonna add all of this. You can copy and paste it, but you can't copy and paste it as you add in the list. Well, you can, but it's a waste of time. So it's better to put it as a formula, so it'll always be automatically added as you add more into the watch list. So again, you guys know my favorite formula. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to be a little bit time consuming. Sorry, guys. I'll try to be fast. 4, 5, 6. What was it again? So T. Totally forgot. Let me put that here actually. It's going to be the setup. This is the type. Again, all of this is already done in the watch list. So all you have to do again, X lookup. Oops, that's not an X lookup. Come on, load. X lookup, the trade ID, and the lookup array, this thingy-majiggy. And then because you're looking for the setup, just highlight the setup and then close parentheses. There you go. And because I don't want to keep typing out all that stuff, just copy and paste it. Click F2, the hotkey to just quickly change it, and then just type it and that. Right? Easy. So it doesn't really take that long. Oops. Oh, oops, it's SF actually, not SI. And then IO. Blah, blah, blah. Let's take that F3 off. Yeah, so too. Again, for those who missed it, I like to number format my thing and be specific to give it a cleaner look. So I'm going to change the things that are typically a million. And this is the thing. You won't find it, for those who missed it, you won't find it in there. You have to type it in yourself because I created it or took it from Google, from someone from Google. And then the percentages, obviously, this one. Okay. For those, I'm not going to go too deep into all of the stats that you want to collect, but I will give a little bit. So this is probably the only one that you really have to put manually in. So I'm gonna unhighlight it. Anything that's not highlighted, will mean that you will type a minute, and that is the pre-market high, and then the pre-market volume. And I already wrote this all ahead of time. Also, two other things, sorry. Because time is important. Time is important. You want to time a lot of these things. I like to also put everything that you have to type in manually next to each other, and then the ones that are all formula next to each other. So I'm looking for the high time here, my bad. Which is the high of this, and then the low. Okay. And you have to put all of that stuff manually, which I made up all of this because I didn't want to go through all of the tickers again and just figure out the numbers. So all of this is made up, so don't copy it. And also the number formatting is wrong. Easy fix. Pre-market high, that's just numbers. Pre-market volume, that is this. And this is just time. Right there. Okay. Reason being
Is that the
is
high of day and low of day, or what is that?
so
High and low in time?
yeah, the high time, low time. So the high of the higher day, what time did it
Yeah, okay.
get
Yeah,
up to
yeah.
46? And then
Gotcha, thanks.
again, all of this is made up, so don't copy it. The reason why I like to go over, like to group them up is because listen, sometimes there's gonna be areas where this is gonna be manual here, and then let's say you have another area here that's gonna be manual. I don't wanna have to manually click one by one. And if everything is like alternating, where this is formula, then this is manual, then this is formula, like I can't do this. Watch. I can't just do that, right? Let's say I have some manual cells here, but it's empty. You know how easy it is if I just everything's already filled and group up, I can just skip there. So just one click, just control right arrow, and it'll lead me to the next blank cell. But if there's formula here, manual, formula here, manual, and not all the manuals are filled, there's just too much clicking. I'm too lazy for that. So that's how you do it. And then what else am I going to do? Right. Now we're going to get into the change percentages and all that stuff. Okay. This is important. So we're going to do previous close to open so we can find the change percentage there. As you add, by the way, the table will expand, so don't worry about that. This is the high percentage, low percentage, close percentage, and then day 2 percentage. And then one of the most important things is green to red. There's a lot you can do with all of this stuff. Like, this is from the change percentage is based off the previous close to open. The high and the low in the close is based off the open, how high or how low it went from the open. But again, you can be creative. If you want, you could do high to low. And you know, the reason why you should put all of these numbers in is because if you want to create a new formula that you think of in your head, you could easily just type in that formula, and because you already have the data set in place, there you go, you have that. There's also to make it a little bit more complicated, I won't be doing it today, you can do if then statement, where if you're doing the high to low, like how much did it drop from the high, you might think, okay, that's cool, but what if the low happened before the high? That makes it useless, right? Yeah, you're right. But if you make it conditional, right, which and you base it off time, which we have, right, we can then put like some conditional that if the high time is greater than the low time, then do the change formula, and then vice versa. If it's not, leave it blank. And then you could do the same with low percentage to high. How much did it go from low to high? So we're not going to do that today. I'm not trying to fill up this whole thing as if I'm actually filling in a spreadsheet. So we're just going to do it this way. So you can easily do it this way. The change percentage, oops, you're going to do parentheses, right? Previous close minus previous open divided by open, close parentheses. Oops, I need one more parentheses. You don't actually have to put that parentheses in, but whatever. Right, so that's that. To make it cleaner, because sometimes you won't have the data that you need, and so it'll give you crap like this. Let it load. It'll give you this. It's not clean. So I like my thing clean, and you can do this for all of this. I'm not going to do it for all that, but what you can do is do another. You can do a nested formula where if you do an if statement, if like the open, if the open is blank, right? So equals comma, quote, meaning it's blank because there's nothing between those quotes, and then do another quote, that means leave it blank, right? So this is what happens. Look at that, it's gone. The formula is still there, but because the open is not there, it's going to stay blank. Keeps your spreadsheet clean. So you can do that for all of this, by the way, or you can do it for every single cell. That's how you keep it clean. So I'm going to decrease the table again. It's not gonna be as much of a problem if you're doing it this way though, because everything will grow based off the watch list. So, except this stuff. If you don't have, if you're basing some stuff off of this manual stuff and you haven't filled it in, it's gonna be a mess and all that jazz. Okay, so change the number format. This is the same thing that we showed earlier. It's always showing blue, but because they're always positive. But now you have some red showing negative. Yay. Delete that. That's gonna get annoying. Hopefully that doesn't happen to you guys. By the way, this is all formulas. So do that. It's just good practice if you do the if statement. So if you do that, blank blank, easy. It's gonna be, you know, second nature to you after you do it so many times. So, oh yeah, and I'm gonna do it that number format for all of that here. Low. Because PEMDAS, right? Open. Oops. Oh my gosh. Typo. If the close is not filled, and close minus open divided by open. Yay. And two, blah, minus open, or minus the close this time, because we want to know what the change is the next day. Then, okay. So easy enough. Look how much we were able to fill in, and it's only 54 minutes since we started. So hopefully you guys don't have a, you can watch the rest. It's almost done. Also, this is a little bit different. We're not gonna do, oops, same thing here. This is really important for your pivot tables. So I'm gonna fill it. This one's the same thing. You're gonna do if, okay? This one, you can also do, you can make it nested, by the way, meaning you can do two ifs. So if blank, leave it blank, then you'll do another if. Now this is the real formula. If this is less than 0%, then that means it ended red. You could do it this way. And then if it is greater than 0%, you can say ended green. So it was a red day or a green day. But for me, I found that Excel functions a lot better in terms of formula if you leave it as numbers. So I like to indicate, oh, 0 means red, 1 means green. And you don't, because it's a number and you want to leave it as a number, you can just type it in without the apostrophes. You can make this a text though, right? By putting the commas, or sorry, the apostrophes. That will tell Excel that, you know, this isn't a number, this is a text. So that's what the quotes are. Okay, and based off what that is, and that is, and it, you know, your spreadsheet will continue to expand. So you might forget exactly what you did. So you can do a few things. Leave a note, right? Red equals 0, green equals 1. Right, you can do that. You can also do a comment. Equals 0. Right, so leave yourself some notes if you think you're gonna forget later on. Right, and then a couple more things, and then we can get to the pivot tables, which is super easy, and then we can call it done. Thank you for being patient with me. By the way, any questions?
No, but you're giving us your time, you know, you're taking the time out of your day to do this for us. So we really appreciate it, you know.
No worries. But I do want to help you guys. So if you have questions, feel free to ask. I'd be happy to answer. Hold on, Mugen said he had to leave. Yeah, no worries, Mugen. Thank you for coming today.
All right,
Hopefully
bye
you
me
can,
again.
you can learn, you can take something from this. Okay. Tell your son I said hi. One other thing I like to do, as we move on, is I like to group up the floats. That will come in handy when we do the pivot tables. You can do that for SO. You can do that for a lot of things. Okay. I do categories for a lot of things, right? This in of itself, the setup and the type are categories. Okay. And that's going to help with the pivot table later on. So I'm going to do a float category, right? And then I'm going to do, instead of an if statement, I'm going to do ifs. Okay. And then, you know, we've talked about it. A lot of gurus talk about it in general, right? What's considered a small, a micro float? Anything that's less than 1 million. What's considered a small float? Anything between 1 million and 5. That's essentially what you're doing here, okay? So you're gonna highlight the float, which is to the left of it. Then you're gonna do less than, if it's less than 1 million, okay? Or actually do less than or equal to 1 million. Then I like to do mine in numbers, but you can do this, right? Do quotes, micro float, and end quote, and then move on. But I like to do mine in numbers, right? So I'm gonna do that again. Anything that's less than 5 is group 2. Oops, what am I doing? And anything that is 10 or below equals 10 or below is group 3. Anything from 20 is group, actually, let me do that again. 15, 3, anything that is less than 30 is 4. And then anything that is greater than, right? So you switch it up, and 30 million is going to be group 5. Okay, and you'll see it there. Because it's not millions. I'm just going to change this to general. I could have just done that there too, but whatever. That's going to come handy. Also, another thing you could do if you want, you can do the setup thing again. So I'm going to do like setup 2, right? Instead of manually putting it like you did in watch list, you could just do this, right? If, right? Remember how Jay talks about, like, okay, if from the pre-market high to open, it only went down 8%. Anything 8% less than 8% or less is a gap in extension. Remember that? Or anything from like, or is it 12? And then anything from 12 to like 17, if it only went down some 12 to 17%, that's pop and fail. Anything greater than -7, anything less than -17% is a gap in crap. Okay, if you guys remember that. So let's do
Yeah.
that. So you can't do that here, and so you'll have 2 of those things. So just do. Hold on. Oh, whoops! I forgot one more thing. Let me do that. Totally forgot.
Do you make up these numbers, or where is it? Where are these numbers? Where would I find these numbers if I put them in formula?
I made these numbers up, but these are typical. A lot of traders use the same thing. These are the typical kind of formulas that traders like Stephen Ducks and Tim Guttani and all those guys do. Just from looking at
Oh
YouTube.
no, actually, the change it comes from the data that you pulled from the Excel stock thing history, isn't it?
What do you mean?
The percentages, like let's say change, the high percent, low percent, close, and day two things, they all come from the. Wait, one sec.
Yeah, but the formulas are all the same. A lot of the traders use the same kind of formulas to find the average of all of them.
I mean, from here.
Yeah, I'm not really inventing anything new, to be honest. Okay, whoops, I don't know what I'm doing. There's no need for the if statement, sorry. So open minus close, previous close divided by previous close. Oops, actually put that in there. It'll automatically put a parentheses at the end if you forget it. By the way, so don't worry if you do. And then the thing I talked about. So that is another ifs statement, right? If, oh my word, I'm dumb. Whoops. If you make a dumb mistake like I did just now, easy fix. Just minus that, and then do the pre-market high. And replace that one as well with the pre-market high. Easy. Easy fix. All the numbers will change. There you go. That's what I want. My bad. So do another if statement. I forgot the numbers Jay tells people. I already have it formulated, so I don't care to remember it. But if it's greater than -8, actually greater than or equals to 12, -12, I mean, and that is, I'm gonna do quotes, gap and extension. And go back to the cell again. If it is greater than or equal to -17%, and that is pop and fail. And then anything that cell, if it's less than anything -17, as gap and crack. Oops. Again, don't forget to put the quotations to indicate that that is a word. Wow, that seems off. Huh. Well, that's worrisome. I did something wrong. Oh well, we'll figure it out later. Or you guys can figure it out on yourself. It's actually not hard to figure out. But anyways, you have this already. Sorry, I actually made a mistake. So we're gonna move on to the pivot tables. Also, you could do a lot with the pre-market volume too. Like you guys know the float rotation. Just figure out how many times the pre-market volume occurred based off the float, and depending on how much it rotated already, what's the chances of it ending red or green, which you can do on the pivot tables. So there's a lot you can do with just this and then all this stuff. So be creative. So we're gonna do pivot tables now, and then after that we can. Oh yeah, any questions so far?
How long it took you to learn all this?
3 years. This is an amalgamation of like 3 years of work. But at the same time, I don't do it like this anymore. I do a more advanced thing with the code. And I'm trying to figure it out as we speak. So I don't necessarily have to use this. All I have to do is extract data from a platform and do some little code magic, and then I'll have thousands of this stuff, these types of information in my hands, and all I have to do is put formulas and easy money. I can do formulas all day. So I don't necessarily do it this way, but before the code, or if I don't have the code, I do it this way. So yeah. Any more questions? Someone posted something, small cap. Oh, Karen missed her meeting. Okay, moving on. Pivot tables. These are really nifty. You can do a lot with them as well. All you have to do is do an insert, pivot chart. Hold on, pivot chart. Okay, it'll show table and range. This is why I asked you guys to do things in tables, right? You can do pivot tables here or here, up to, but the master data is what we want. So just highlight that. Okay. And then you want this to be existing worksheet. If you do new worksheet, it's going to open up a new Excel, and you can do that if you want, but I don't see the point of doing that right now. So it'll load. Look at that. It'll have that. So reason why I had you guys do the green and red and also to categorize the float is this is one way I like to do it, right? Where I have, the float category here on my axis, and I like to have the green red here, right? So now I have that, and then I want my values to be, oh, what's the average of the high or something like that, and that's why we have the high percentage. So put the values in the high percentage. This is going to say sum of high. That's wrong. You want average. So value field setting, change that into here, average. If you can find other stuff, I found that there's some stuff here that's pretty useful, like a standard deviation and all that stuff. So feel free to play around with that. And look at that. What do you do? You found, a way to do that. Hold on. What did I do? Float category. Okay, so on the x-axis, right here is the float categories, right? We have the 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the y-axis, we have, how high it went, right? So 1 here, again, remember, is green, and then blue here means red, that ended red. You can also change this, I'm pretty sure. Can you? Maybe not. Forgot. But you can change the title for some of this. Maybe not. Oh, it's been a while. Also, if you don't want the grand total because it's useless. So go to design, grand totals, off for rows and columns. There you go. And then change the number format as always. I like mine the way I do it, which is that. And then it'll give you the specific things for that. One thing I like to do is find out how many samples fit that criteria. Because sometimes, this is the average of all the things that fit that second float category and the ended red, right? But then you would think, oh, that's the average of that. But then there's only one sample. So there's only one sample for that. How much do you want to trust that exactly? So try to do a formula to find the total samples on that. And you could also do this again with the low percentage. So let's do that one more time as well. Just do insert pivot table. Again, I like that whole thing. Same thing that we did, right? And then just do low percentage. You could do the same thing with change percentage, close percentage, day 2 percentage. It's going to show this way because obviously it's going down. Also, you can change the style of this right here. Some of them will give you more specific numbers. You can also change the color. Right, so I'm pretty sure you could change this too, the title here. So I'm gonna red. So that's red, and this is green. Blah blah blah. Same with thing here. Take off the grand totals. Right. You could also just, if you're content with just that, go for it. It's easy click. It's not really that big of a difference, really. I just like mine looking pretty. There we go. And then red, green. You could also change this too. So what was the low float? Anything that was like a micro float? Oh, no, sorry, one was a micro float. This is a small float. And this was kind of small float. Big float, medium float, blah, blah, blah. You can change the titles on that. And one more thing I'm gonna do, just because you saw all that stuff, I'm gonna do one more, which is pie chart. Hold on. What was I gonna do? You don't have to do this pivot table every single time. If you just want to put in a picture, you can. I'm just not gonna do that. I want to see how much. What happened? Where'd it go? I want to see how much float ended up red versus green. That's the idea. So let's see if that'll work. So again, I'm going to do float category and do red, green. And then I'm going to do, I don't know, ticker as the values. And I'm going to change this into pie chart. And then you can be specific, right? And these are the specific categories, how much ended red, blah, blah, blah. And then we can do the slicers. And then after that, we can go to the question mode and then we can end it. That is, where is the slicers? Go to insert, slicer. Yeah. Okay, wait, whoops, sorry. Highlight something, one of these things first, and then do a slicer. And then these are the things that you want. If you want, the date, for instance, right? Or no, sorry. You have to do another category. Actually, so let's just do setup, actually, my bad. The setup, it'll give you a slicer right here. And there's more setup. I have a lot of setups, but you click on it, anything that's associated with this will change the data to specifically only go over the ones that have the gap, that meet that gap category. Hold on. There's a way to connect this and all of that into this, but I'm forgetting. So there it is, report connection. There it is. Check all that and it should change all that. See? Yay. And then click the X there and it'll highlight everything, and that's the overall thing. So you can do that with a lot of things. That's why I said to do categories and do as much as you want and as much as you can, because you can do slicers like this and you can be very specific with how you want to look at your setup, right? And then one other thing too, because we have market cycles and all that. Let's say your watch list has 1,000 different tickers in it from dating back from 2 years ago. Just do slicer again. Oh, sorry, go to insert again. Next to slicer, there's a timeline. Okay, wait, whoops, I need to highlight, my bad. Just do the date. Right? And then let's report the connections, connect it all there. So let's say you have 1,000 or something like that. And so, it's giving you a general overview of all the stats, but the market cycles changed and things aren't working as well as you used to. Okay, cool. It's November. Whoops, that's not November. It's March. It's March now. So you only want the tickers that in that watch list that is March. You can also be pretty specific with it. Look, days. You can go all the way till the end of this year. If you think, the cycle started back in February 21st, Now you'll have every ticker that, you know, are dated from February 21st on until March 31st. Get that so you can be very specific with your data using slicers, and having the pivot table will give you a very good representation of all that stuff, right? So yeah, that's it. Any questions?
No questions, but I'll just make a comment because this is actually sick. Imagine all your data that you entered, like you should have told me all of this like at the beginning of my like mentoring, because
Oh,
I got so actually fed up entering like data at the end of the day that I didn't really have any time to analyze it, to take anything from it. So
yeah,
I would end up like just basically adding, time of day when it's high of day, low of day the time, add everything, add floats, everything, from edge to trade. And I couldn't tell you, what's the use of it basically. So I actually like stopped doing that.
yeah, right.
And
And
this is just like literally you did it like in what 40 minutes, filled everything and you extracted all the data basically. And then when Jay used to give like homework, like oh do the calculation of gap and craps or whatever, like for the whole month. So I would basically sit there, extract all those data and like manually calculate, like look at gap and craps. So
mhm,
write on a different sheet, pick them all out, do like manually, divide, multiply, whatever, like to get percentages, and
yeah,
take me like 3-4 hours basically to get it all done. And this is like just what, click one pivot table, that there you go.
exactly. So
This actually makes so much sense.
yeah, and Excel is very uh, flexible that way. I'm pretty sure Google Sheets can do that too, but
They
I'm gonna
probably should, because it's as well, it's like based on the same formulas, to be honest. I mean,
yeah,
they basically running up, I'm sure they're running the same formulas.
yeah. This is top tick's words, not me, but I agree with them. Excel is superior than Google Sheets. So I would say stick with Excel if you have the money to do so. But just remember the most important things is like obviously the categorizing, the trade ID. You can probably do away with this if you don't trust it. The watch list, you should be filling that up every morning anyways. And then the pivot tables, you know. So yeah, I used to do it the way you did it. Like there's just so much crap I had to put in manually, and it got so demotivating. I've shown you before, months before. So I have spreadsheets where I had samples like 500, 600 of that, and majority of that was done manually. The amount of stress my fingers went through, like my fingers, there were days where it would keep twitching when I'm not even doing anything with it because of how much typing I had to do.
Yeah, it's as you said, like very demotivating basically. And
Uh,
as well, when you've got like limited time, let's say, so let's say market close, for me it's like 9 p.m. So I used to basically sit there for, do your mark your chats up, whatever, send it to Jay, and then I spend another, 2 hours or whatever, like just basically entering data without getting any results from it.
mhm.
And then you just all too tired, and there's no time for, do the review, like, tickers in play today, like, print, screenshot the charts, mark them up, there was no time for that basically. So like waste like tons of time with no results basically.
Right, exactly. And I don't want to lie to you guys, this is how I do it majority of this time, but I don't exactly do it this way anymore. Even like I said earlier, all this manual stuff, I don't necessarily do those things anymore. Why? Because I extract data from the platforms I use. And so it kind of looks like something like this, right? Where you see all this? This is the next level where you have watch. These tabs go into specific data, and from 4:01, from 4 p.m., right? I have minute by minute data going over all of this stuff. So I don't have to write any of this. All I have to do, right, is create formulas like this, right? Watch, look at the thing here, right? all formulas. I don't type anything manually anymore. I manually type in the formula, sure, but that takes me not that much because I already know how to do the formulas, right? And then as I add to the list, all of this just automatically gets updated. And look, I have a bunch of it. And then obviously with the pivot tables I showed you, I just showed you the basics of it, but you can do a lot with the pivot tables. I know Lily does a lot of Power BI, which is the more superior version of Excel's pivot tables. And you can take a lot of the data that you have here and make it even more so. This is the next level. But you have to know how to code a little. And that's what I'm trying to figure out now. That's the project I'm working on. But for those who aren't in that level yet, but you don't want to waste time, as much time as I did before, do it the way I did. And also add your own mix. As you grow, you'll find ways to be lazy in the smart way that I haven't thought of before. So, please feel free to share.
And actually figure out what you want to extract, what you want to find out, because you've got enough data points to sort of play around with them.
Exactly. And if you ever think of a new formula that you don't have, just because you have the manual stuff already set in place, just put in the formula that you're thinking of, and you have all of that data for hundreds to thousands of tickers if you have it already done in 2 seconds, or however fast your computer is. So that's that's how Excel works. That's kind of how I do it. You don't have to do it the way I did it. There's certainly a lot of better people than I am who can do it better. TopTick is a great one.
I think Trade Zoo or something on Twitter does, I think, a lot of data things as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You could trade your all day
Zoo, I think.
faders, Zoo, I think Zoo, whatever, Trade Zoo, whatever. I think they get a lot of their data from that one website, Spikeat or whatever. It kind of gives you all the manual data too. I've used it, I've paid for it. I didn't find it accurate. However, all day faders disagrees. So, my word versus a successful trader's words. Take that.
I
Take that
mean,
what you want.
you're gonna have discrepancies. It's enough when you check on the floats and whatever, you've got between different websites, you got different data, so there's gonna be discrepancies. But when you work with like thousands and thousands of tickers, you're still gonna get accurate enough results for what you're gonna get, for what you want to extract. Like, let's say gap and craps or whatever, like how many faded, or it's still gonna be accurate enough ballpark, to give you an edge.
Yeah, essentially. This, Short Bear, Tim Grittani, they found their edge because they tracked all of this crap on Excel. They might not be as formulaic as I am, maybe. Oh, I don't really know, actually. I don't want to say anything. But, doing your stats, doing your spreadsheet is important. And if you can do it in a way that doesn't give you carpal tunnel in that, do it, right? So that's the end of the meeting. I know this is kind of the basics, but it's also not really the basics. So hopefully I gave you guys something new to think about if you are good at Excel already. But I just
Hey,
ask it. Yep.
Super helpful for me, Mark, because I'm not at all versed in Excel, so the basics are like really helpful. So I super appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, same here, Mark. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it a lot. I'll end the recording now. I mean, whoever wants to stick around, and if Mark has a few more minutes, we can talk. This will all be uploaded to a private YouTube thing, and I'll share the link as soon as it's uploaded, probably tomorrow. Thank you, Mark.